I tried. I was gonna use this really cool incense that I got, but yeah, I'm not gonna be able to put it on there. So, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing really good. Sorry, I'm just a couple minutes behind. Only by 4 minutes. I think that's a record for me for being behind. Only 4 minutes. All right, so I hope everyone is doing really good. It's been a minute since I've been on. I think what? I lied. I was on like what? 2 weeks ago? A week ago? When I did Elemental Part 1. But tonight we're going to talk about dragons. So I hope everyone's ready. Just give me a second. I want to wait till everyone pops on, and then I could kind of see the comments, but I'm going to pull it up on my laptop too, because you know I always have problems when I least expect it. Or when I hope I don't have problems. Yep, see, comments aren't working. So good thing I definitely signed on. Hi, everyone. Hey, Ronnie, Jody, Serenity, Heather. Hey, darling. How have you been? I see you're back. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so let me pull this up. Turn my volume off because I don't want to hear myself. Or when I hope I don't have problems. See? Turn myself on again. Okay. Oh, Brittany, hey, I see you there too. Okay. So everyone's gonna slowly come on, so I'm just gonna do like a little intro in a way. So everyone, if you haven't noticed, we're doing all of these mythological creatures a little different, each of us. And it's all based on our connection with them all. Well, you know, of course, yours truly took on dragons. Why not, right? Well, we're going to take dragons, and this is gonna lead us into dragon magic. It's gonna lead us into draconic magic. It's going to lead us into working with the dragons, if you so choose. Now, let me just give a little word of caution. Not everyone can work with dragons. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not saying anything like that, but some people have stronger connection to other type of mythological creatures that would rather them work with them than with the dragons. It's totally fine. So, if anything, you're just going to learn some stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have a connection with them. But I would like to try, nonetheless. But please ask questions. If you don't ask questions, I don't know what you want to hear. When it comes to dragons, there's about 1 million different ways I can take this. I can take this per religion. I can take this per culture. I can take this per type. I could take this as general. So, ask if you have a question. If I don't know the answer, I will find it. But once again, I'm going to give you my personal experience with the dragons and how I represent them and how I use them and work with them and how they become probably the closest thing to, like, well, you know, we call a dog. I have dragons just like that, even though I do have dogs. The dragons are pretty much just as close as my animals are to me right now. All right. So does anyone have any questions to start? Or you know what? Let's do this. Let's start off with you ask me a question about dragons, and then we're going to take it from there. Because if I read my notes, I'm going to sound like a lecture, and I don't want to sound like a lecture. I want this to be free-flowing. I want you to ask questions. I want to answer them to the best of my ability. I want to take you into not the different types of dragons, because honestly, you can look that up on the internet yourself, the different types of dragons, how some are serpent-based, some have only 2 legs, some have 4 legs, some don't have wings, some have wings, some have bird-like wings, some have more scale-style wings. And then, of course, you know, some deal with all the elements. Some are the beginning of creation, some are primordial. See where I'm coming from? There's so many different things that, you know, we can break onto. So let's find out what you guys want to hear, and then I'm going to answer your questions. All right, so remember, I'm reading from my laptop, so I apologize if I look to the side. What is the difference between draconic and dragon magic? Okay, Serenity, I don't want to get too far into that because that's an actual lecture broken in half itself. But dragon magic is, generally speaking, it's working literally with dragon entities, deities, and such, literally working as if, you know, they're right beside you. okay? Draconic magic is energy of the dragons. It's all energy based. It's your energy merged in with the dragons. Dragons do not actually do the magic for you. They just let you borrow their energy, and then you create what you need to. It is a left-handed path, the draconic magic. It is not white lighted. I will say that again and again and again. It is not white lighted, okay? Dragon magic is more on the lighter side of the spectrum, okay? If that helps just a little bit. But we're gonna go more in detail when I actually break those both down. We're gonna actually do a live on Dragon magic next month, I believe. And I'm gonna do also next month draconic magic, but it's gonna be broken in half so you can see the differences between. That's why we're setting you up with dragons today. Brittany says, how do you first discover dragons? Or how did you first discover dragons? Honestly, I've always had a fascination with dragons. I used to watch movies with dragons in it. I used to read books, novels with them in it. And then I started feeling like I had a huge imagination as a kid. At least that's what my mom used to tell me. I used to pretend that I was a dragon rider, and then there was times I was slaying dragons. I always had that type of mindset. Well, when I got older, I started, hearing more growls and rumbles, and here I'm thinking maybe a dog's growling at me, or I'm thinking hey, there's demons out there, because I did go to church with my family, so I kind of thought that dark spectrum was more of a, a demonic base before I realized what demonic really meant. Then I started seeing them in my dreams more. Then from my dreams became more of a, I swear I just seen something move in the tree line. Or, wow, I really just seen something bubble in the water and did not look like a fish. Kind of looked like a snake. Holy shit, get me out. And, that evolved. So it literally started from a kid with an imagination to, hey, what are you doing in my house? And why are you so little? And then going outside and holy crap, what is that? And that's where it kind of started leading to me working with the dragons. So initially, if you want to get into adulthood, dreams. They first came to me in dreams, and then I started researching them, and then I realized I can use them and work with them one-on-one. And then it just progressed into draconic magic, which was me borrowing their energy and merging it with mine. But we'll get more into that part. Ronnie says, so do dragons find you, or can you reach out? Actually, both. I've heard both stories. I've actually heard them reach out through other people too. So Monica, it happened kind of to Monica. She kind of had a feeling, but she wasn't sure. I created a box for her. I was sure. I was sure it was meant. I was sure she was meant to have some type of connection with them. It even got fine detailed into realizing which style of dragons, earth-based, that was meant for her. So it was pretty cool too. So you can do both. You can meditate to get to them. You can give them offerings, which we'll get more into that. Call them out, even a rage or just being mad, you're outside and you're just yelling to the universe, you can yell to them. They will answer most likely if there's a form of connection between the two of you. And one big thing is a lot of people are like, oh, there's only so many dragons. Actually, there's just as many dragons as there are humans. The difference is the ones that have the connection to the humans are in our physical realm. The ones that, what's the easy way to say this? So if I said Megan has a dragon, okay? But Megan doesn't have that strong bond where she feels she wants to work with dragons, or that it just doesn't fit with her. The dragon will leave this plane, realize that connection isn't meant for this lifetime, and they will go back to their own physical cosmic realm, portal based, depending on how your spectrum of their portal and realm is. So everyone initially is born with a guardian, one very specific one that was meant to help you, guide you, all that. But if you don't have that connection with it, which is quite possible, it will go back. But the ones that you do have connections will stay here. And you can always ask for other ones to help you too, but you always have that one when you work in this type of practice. You always have that guardian that literally is that little nagging thing saying, I wouldn't do it. Oh, she's doing it. Oh, she did it. Oh, great. How am I going to fix her? That's the fun part on that when it comes to dragons. Hey, Michelle. Gina, you are not late, girl. We just got started like maybe 10 minutes ago. Sarnay says, yeah, that's kind of my issue, is wondering if I'll have a strong connection because I love all types of dragons, but it's hard to say, LOL. Sorry if my comment is confusing. No, you're good. Yeah, they have to want to work with you, and you have to feel the need, like a pull, like all you could think about is dragons. You find them fascinating. You want to learn about them. And it'd be the same thing if you were looking and working with the Fae, having that strong connection. Me, I'm the polar opposite with the Fae. I'm like, no. And no Fae. But there's a bridge that you don't cross when you work with dragons, and there's a bridge you don't go work with Fae, because dragons and Fae, I don't care what anyone says, they aren't friends. They're completely different spectrums. Dragons are very prideful. They're very royal, regal. They have that energy where it's very ancient. They don't mess around. They don't like tricks. It's blunt and to the point. And you look at the Fae, and Fae's a little bit different, compared to them. They're more of the trickster. They're more of the deals without realizing you have a deal. Dragons are going to tell you up, listen, we're going to make a deal. If you want to make a deal, that's fine. You break the deal, it's over. And you can't mistake having a deal, where the Fae is a little bit different. Hey, Sarah Lee. Okay, so if anyone has any more questions, please keep posting them. I will answer them as I go. So realize this. Dragons come in all different shapes, sizes. They can be little, like I'm not kidding, they can be little. They're the babies. They can be into the mature phase, where they are about the size of a human, 6'5" area. Then you have the mature, you have the ancients, you have the old, you have the primordials, and they are the size of, the ones that everyone depicts them as being very large. The thing is if you, and I know you've all heard the myths and the legends where, they say the Loch Ness Monster is technically a water dragon. Yeah, I can see that 100%. Ones that have physical bodies are actually ones that are trapped. They're not ones, now remember my personal view, they're the ones that are actually trapped on this realm, on this physical plane. They have to complete a task before they can actually move back to their realm, which is more celestial, cosmos style, okay? But like Loch Ness Monster is a huge one that they say, I can't tell you how many times I've seen pictures and photos of, a winged serpent-like type of creature, whether it has legs or no legs at all, but has wings flying in the air. I've seen so many like that. They're all real. They do have physical ones. They hide in the mountains. They hide in the highest peaks they can. They hide in the caves. They hide in the waters. Yes, they hide in all. They hide in volcanoes. Like, it's a big one, especially if they're an elemental one, which is always really cool. So I know that there's different ones that can be physical, as well as on the spiritual side of things, the spiritual plane, where you have to have a certain sight to see it, or they have to want you to, or sometimes you can only hear them. Especially if you're a clairaudient in any shape or form, you could definitely hear them before seeing them, which is, yay, that's just my luck. I hope that makes sense just a little bit. I know I'm jumping around. I have a feeling I'm jumping around. So if I'm jumping around, I'm sorry. I guess there's so much to tell you, and I don't know what you really want to hear without it seeming like a lecture. So if I lecture it, I'm really sorry. So dragon technically translates to drakon. Drakon technically translates to serpent. Okay, so dragon has its own, I think it's drakon is actually Greek. It's not Latin, it's Greek. Let's see. What can we jump into here? I don't want to say any of that stuff. Okay, so let's talk about like types of offerings and stuff you can do with them. One thing is if you want to, my desk is a mess. If you want to work with dragons, I suggest this book. This is a great book. It's Dancing with Dragons, Invoking the Ages of Wisdom and Power. Any of DJ Conway's dragons books are very good for beginners. And I say that is because he breaks it really down into the different types of dragons, like the Hydra, like the Western dragons. Okay, then you have your Chinese, Japanese dragons. He breaks it literally down to whatever you need to know. He talks about the size of them. He talks about Norse dragons, imperial dragons. You see what I mean? Like, he talks about all of them. He even talks then in his books about the most famous in history dragons, like Leviathan or Tiamat or what's that one? Ladun. Then there's, I wrote this down. What's the other one that's really popular? I don't want to get into that. That'll really get confused for you guys. But he talks about a lot. So it looks like this for the one, okay? It's really good. I definitely recommend it. I have bookmarks in all of these because of different rituals in here. It even breaks it down to herbs, crystals, things you can use to work with whichever dragons. So, Dancing with Dragons, anything with DJ Conway when it comes to dragons, you want to work with. All right, so let's see. When it comes to like any type of shrines or altars or anything like that, you don't have a specific way of placing anything. You don't require anything besides a small statue or figurine of a dragon based off of your type of dragon that you want to work with. So if you want to work with the Western dragons, they're more like, if you've ever seen the Wales flag that has the dragon on it, that's a Western dragon on it. I actually have a few of those because my father is from Wales. My father's aunts are from Wales. So they gave me a bunch of stuff that has the dragons on it. Once you have a shrine, which again, this could just be a simple figurine, simple statue, you need some things to kind of decorate it. So make an offering, a form of statues, perhaps a drawing, otherwise images of dragons will work just as much. Offer any type of crystals that relate to the type of dragon, maybe the element of the dragon, or if you're focusing on a very famous one like Tiamat or Leviathan, I would then research those very specific dragons and see what stones relate to them. Now, I can tell you right now, if you work with Leviathan or you're trying to talk with a Leviathan, he likes black stones, okay? Because he is what I call a dungeon dweller dragon. He is, even though he is a sea serpent style dragon, he also is very dark in nature. He is very depicted as, chaos dragon. So look at things like black obsidian, black tourmaline, jet, hematites, things very, very dark, okay? Then if you're looking at Tiamat, you can think of more things that are related to water because she is the primordial goddess of the dragons, but she is also the mother of the dragons when it comes to the sea. So I would look more on water base. Or if you want to look at a spirit base because of her primordial status, I would then think of more like, not an amethyst, she does not like amethyst, but like a clear quartz. Or, phantom quartz, not fire quartz, I'm sorry, garden quartz. I know you would think that would be more earth, but it's really not, because how she depicts garden quartz is based actually because it looks like it's submerged in water. So it's like land underneath the sea, kind of like an Atlantis thing, okay? She loves Atlantis, so if you want to relate Atlantis to her, since it's under the water, things like that, okay? So think of her like that. But I will say this. Have you guys ever heard of the little myth that says dragons love their gold? That's a real thing. Dragons will always accept gold as offerings. Not fool's gold. Don't use pyrite. But gold itself. It has to be real gold. It could be a liquid form of gold. It could be actually gold chunks. It could be a necklace that has gold on it. A form of gold. Okay? They will hoard their treasures, as they say. And gold is always part of that treasure. Gemstones and gold. I'm just reading on the comments and apologies. Brittany says, in some of the lore, dragons have two forms, human and draconic. Is there truth to that, or is it just a myth? Draconic. So, see, draconic is an energy. Unless you mean human and dragon form. There are dragons, and there's actually one in myth. It's Fafnir. He is a Norse dragon. He was actually a dwarf that transformed into a dragon and fought in the Battle of Ragnarok. Okay? And he got slaughtered, of course. But yes, dragons can transform from human to dragon, but draconic is an actual energy base of the dragon. So unless you actually meant the energy base, clarify if you don't mind, so that way I know if I'm interpreting this correctly for you. But yes, they can. There are now not many. You can't take Tiamat and she can't transform to a human, but she could transform into other things. So like the legend of Tiamat is she was one primordial dragon goddess. Her first husband was killed, but she had children. She got married again in a way, had more children, but then the children tried to take over, killed the second husband, then chopped up their mother into pieces. And then certain pieces of her became the heavens, another piece became the land, another piece became the sea, another piece became the underworld. So every part of Tiamat is a part of we'll say earth in general, okay? But yeah, so she wasn't able to become human, but she was able to become other things to support human life, I guess you could say. I'm just scrolling through the comments. Serenity says, I've heard that you can leave coins and shiny things on altars as well. Sure can. They don't like silver, just so you know. They do prefer only gold. But they love crystals because they have energy in them, and they're pretty, they're shiny, and it's a pretty thing because they depict themselves as being pretty, so they want pretty things. For some reason, they don't like silver. I don't really understand why. I know mine do not, so you will never see me leave anything that has silver on it on their altars. That includes incense bowls, water, dishes, anything like that, even down to like, I have a lot of silver platters because I usually use those for, to put my offering stuff on it. I won't even use those. I will use either gold or I will use just like matte black or something like that, but I will never use silver. Not really sure why. I can never find anything on why they don't accept it. They just don't. At least, like I said, for mine, they just don't. Okay, so food offerings. So let's see. Okay, so I don't know why I just wrote food offerings, and I thought I was going to read on, and here it was about the incense and not the food offerings. So food offering is really easy because as long as it's something that's cooked like over an open fire and a grill, anything that has a charred type of flavor, that's what they would prefer. They aren't picky on, you know, it has to be this. It could be actually vegetables charred over a grill, like asparagus or, you know, shish kebab, anything like that. Even peppers, mushrooms, anything. As long as it's charred somehow, whether it's on a grill or an open fire, they absolutely love it. So Lee's like, bugger, I love silver. Listen, I have so much silver, it's retarded. Like, I purposely had my mom hunt me down silver teapot with the cream and sugar, with the platter and all that, because I love silver. And of course they don't. It's all right. It's fine. It's totally fine. Brittany says, sorry, I did mean dragon. Okay, I figured you did. That's why I was like, let me clarify, because I think I had a feeling you meant dragons. The lore I've read, male dragons are born in dragon form and have learned the temper themselves to switch human for. It is like a rite of passage. Female dragons are opposite. They are born human and have to find their dragon form. Never heard that lore before. I just know that male or female, they can transition between human if they have that capability. I've never heard this, which I find this quite fascinating, actually, and I'm gonna probably dig into this a little bit. I like this. I like this. I'm gonna look into this. But I've never heard this. So that's pretty cool. By a lot. I know that in all of the dragon books I have, even Tiamat, they can become other things, shapeshifters in a form, but not where they're rite of passage, which I do love rite of passages because I always love trials. I always think trials are quite fascinating. But I mean, again, if that's something you feel very strong on believing, please do. Please. And then look deep into that, because that's pretty cool. Hey, Lindsay. Ronnie says, don't laugh, but jerky? Of course. Of course. Yeah, that would be a good one, actually. Very good. I love jerky. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. I caught up on the comments. So, like I said, food offerings, anything that's like charred, like even jerky. When it comes to drink offerings, they don't have a preference per se. Honestly, it's whatever you feel like offering. I've offered wine, red wine preferably, not white, because I think of it as more of I don't know, like a sweeter taste in my mind. So I always offer red. That's also because that's always what I have in the house. It's red wine. Water, sacred water, storm water. What else have I offered to them? Listen, I've gotten even as crazy as I said, all I have is my tea. So I'll make a tea, put certain herbs in it, and that's what I got. And that, you know, they've never turned it down. Then again, I also make the tea for them too, which is really cool. So when you maybe go into, you know, finding herbs, if there's an element to that dragon, we'll research those herbs, pick those herbs. If, like I said, if it's a main one, like Kur, which is a what is it called? Sumerian dragon. Maybe I would focus more on, you know, like earthy type of things, because he's more of an earth based anyways. I would think more of an earth based. But then if you're looking at, now I'm gonna say this one really wrong, but it's a Mesoamerican type of dragon, and it's actually looks like a bird, like kind of like a phoenix without it looking like a phoenix. The head of a dragon, the wings of a phoenix in a way, no legs, just serpent style, but it's Ku Kru Khan is the name of it, and it's Mesoamerican. It's fascinating. It's very colorful. It's very like rainbowy, and it's very airy and happy type of good fortune dragon. There is no evil to it. The culture that it came from does not look at it that way, so that's really cool too. Aztec. I know there's so many Aztec ones, and I can't pronounce it. Let's see if I can have it. See, do I have Aztec in here? I have so much random stuff because I was like, oh, if someone brings it up, I have the information for them. I don't think I have Aztec on my paperwork, guys. But Aztec has 2 very, very dominant ones, just so you know. Maybe if I could pull it up. I'll pull it up after. But here's what I'll say. Oh, Chinese dragons are very popular, so you should know a lot about Chinese dragons, because if you follow any type of Chinese or Japanese, they always have, you know, festivals that they, you know, honor the dragons. But I'm just gonna read this because this might help you a little bit. Okay, so in general, in the Middle Eastern world, where snakes are large and deadly, the serpent or dragon was symbolic to the principle of evil. Thus, Egyptian god was a great serpent of the world of darkness. But the Greeks and Romans thought accepting the Middle Eastern idea of the serpent was an evil power instead. Also, at times, conceived Draconius was a sharp-eyed dweller in the inner parts of the earth, so he actually lived inside the earth itself. On a whole note, the evil reputation of dragons was getting stronger and stronger. Christianity made them seem as if they were the devil themselves. They like to confuse a lot with the ancient, benevolent, and sadistic serpent deities. Mostly Leviathan is a huge one that they like to hone into that. The dragon form varies from earliest of times. You have the Mesopotamian dragon goddess Tiamat. She had 4 legs, a scaly body, wings, where the Greek Hydra had multiple heads, tiny wings, was very protective of its qualities. I'm trying to skip through some stuff. Even when it came to Utherpin dragon, his signia was on his shield was actual dragon itself. So it dates even back to King Arthur's father, Utherpin dragon. Okay, that's enough of that history stuff. If you want to look up history, guys, please do. I didn't want to look into history and give you all that pain in the ass stuff because that's not fun. Okay, so incense. So let's see. You can literally take any incense and make it into something that goes hand in hand with your dragon. The biggest thing and the top number 1, I'm gonna tell you right now, is dragon's blood resin. Any oil, any incense, anything that has dragon's blood in it, even if it's in its raw form, is probably the best thing you can have, whether it's made for sage. Yeah, those are the 3 main ones. Incense, loose or, not oil-based, or just the raw cut itself with the sage. That's really what you want. It's the best protectant there is when it comes to dragons. It not only protects them, it protects you. It also clears the air. It gives you the strength. It gives you the courage. It gives you the dominance to be able to make the connection. It's telling them, hey, I'm going to take the dragon's blood from that tree that it is so sacred to you as a primordial being, type of realm, that I'm going to utilize it and give us this large type of protection zone. So think of that. So dragon blood resin, oils, incense, it doesn't matter what form you use it in. It's fantastic to have in your arsenal when it comes to working with dragons. It shows them that, hey, I at least have the basics. Now, apart from dragon's blood, you can then you can use frankincense. You can use what would be another really good one besides frankincense? Why does it always draw a blank when I need to think off the top of my head? I write it down and go like, I'll remember. Okay, I'm having a malfunction with my brain right now. So let's just open this handy dandy book and go to these herbs here in the back. Okay, mugwort, of course. I mean, that's should be common sense for me. Apple blossoms, ginger, cypress, yerba mate. I love yerba mate. Pine. That's no surprise there because I like to hide in the trees. Oaks. So as you can see, it's a lot of like earthy types. Club moss, deer's tongue, of course, dragon's blood. Ooh, wild cherry bark. There you go. That was the one I was actually thinking of. Wild cherry bark. So a lot of barks are fantastic. Anything that you can actually burn, they love. Oils, they love. Anoint the candles. You use any color you want, please do. Just base it off of whatever dragon you're working with. I'm not going to use a green candle if I'm working with a Leviathan. I'm not going to use a red candle if I'm working with Tiamat. You see, I'm not going to use a yellow candle if I'm working with Fefir. Yeah, that's not happening. One of the really cool things is they are very creative when it comes to dragons. So if you ever want to actually try and honor them in some way, draw, paint. I mean, I drew a dragon's eye just for them. Let me go grab it. I grabbed a couple other things too while I was thinking about it. So like draw something for them. So like this is just, something I just felt the need to do one day, and it was, perfect. Then remember when I said like have like little figurines? Kathy actually got this for me. This is Tiamat. Well, it's to depict Tiamat. So there's her. She's beautiful, isn't she? You can tell she has a little dragon on her. Because she's considered the mother of dragons, so that's why there's a dragon. Technically, she's never transformed into human because she's broken up into little things, but she's a little ball too. Right? It's a little carnelian. And then my mom got this for me in honor of being, a dragon witch. But this. She's absolutely beautiful. So this is my main statue to honor the dragons, is her. She's me, I guess you can say, but with white hair. So you can get like something as small as this to depict, or something as large as, my larger statue. I'm just catching up. Yes, every culture, you're right, Sarah Lee, every culture has something dealing with dragons, whether it's spirit-based, whether it's something that they use to help fight them in battle, or they give them the strength. Literally, I've not seen one culture that did not have a form of dragons in it, which only means, if you think about it, they're real. Like, how is it every culture, when every culture does not always believe the same thing, but have that one thing in common? That means there's something there. There's history there. There's a sight of something. There's the workings of. It's there. I'm telling you, it's there. Yes, I will post the titles of DJ Conway's books. I'm not going to give you the other books because they're dragon magic books and draconic magic books, and we didn't move on to that. But I will give you this one. This will help too, because it's a very beginner, very, very beginner book. Sonny says, Dragon's Blood is all I use to cleanse my house. That's why I buy the 18 inches. Listen, I have more Dragon's Blood than I care to admit. I love the smell. I really do. I make my room sprays with a lot of Dragon's Blood too. See? Ronnie, she actually bought Dragon's Blood spray and she keeps it in her purse. And she's got some wild cherry bark. Sereny, I used to draw dragons when I was in the middle school art all the time, and the teacher would get mad, but I didn't care. Okay, I'm all caught up on that now. I'm sorry. Light candles. They love candles. Again, it doesn't matter what kind of color you have or anything like that. Now, one thing I do want to discuss with you is we're going to talk about the meaning of the dragon colors. And when I say this is because, oh, I should have pulled that deck out. I'm such an idiot. Actually, I'll probably pull it out in a minute. There's a few dragon decks. They're all fantastic. I have, I think, almost every single dragon deck there is out there. Some I love, some I'm like, oh, this is not my version of dragons, but once a dragon witch, always a dragon witch. But there's one deck, it's called Dragon Path. It's by Carolyn Michaels? Carolyn, I'm gonna get, it's on the thing, I'll get it for you. She is the original dragon witch or lady. I can't remember what she calls herself, but she is fantastic. She has a YouTube video. I'll get all that information for you, I promise. She has a lot of information, and her dragons are very celestial. And not in a bad way. She has one that's called Father Time. He is one of my favorite ones. He is very old, very ancient. You can just get it by looking at his card itself. Amazing. But I'm going to pull those out here in a little bit. But we're going to go through the colors of the dragons, because the colors of the dragons have representation if you see them in the physical form. They have representation if you see them in your dreams. If you have a certain color, you keep, you know, imagining your dragon guardian being. There's reasons. So I want you guys to hear about the dragon colors. So let me get to this right now, just because I'm thinking about it. I'll forget. So black dragons. It is said that black animal incarnates the absolute of their species, which many are based on ceremonial sacrifice. So in Western Europe, black dragons represent incarnated evil, stealing their hoards and devouring their meat. Any nocturnal creature with the additional camouflage of black complexion would undoubtedly make for a very dangerous dragon. In China, black dragons cause lightning storms when they fight one another in the sky. They would have a lot of advantages in the physical world. They can disappear into caves. They can hide into the shadows. Think of this black dragon as a representation of a lurking shadow of the psyche. Very powerful, very creative, able to adapt into any situation and hide in the background and only show itself when needed to be. It is the unseen of the seen. Okay, so black dragons, Leviathan. Enough said. It's very destructive. It's more of a chaos style dragon. So if you see a black dragon, it's chaos related in some form, or it's a shadow working type of dragon. Mine, he's chaos. But I mean, what do you expect from the fact that I work with Loki, who's a chaos chaos god, Leviathan, who is a chaos dragon? I mean, I just kind of threw, hey, you're meant to work with black dragons. Of course I am. Of course, because I have to work with Loki's son, who's a dragon, which we'll talk about him too. Just don't ask me to say his name properly, because I'm gonna tell you I butcher it every time, because I don't call him that, I call him something else. And he still answers to me, so I'm gonna run with it. All right, so Blue dragons. Blue is a common color of the sea serpents. Tiamat is blue. Light blue dragons represent the sky and flight, while dark blue dragons represent the deep ends of the oceans and the waters. Blue dragons are highly protective creatures and very magical. See, I'm tongue-tied when I have to read something else's work. Blue Chinese dragons are of the purest colors. They symbolize royalty and a passive nature. Oh my word. Bronze dragons. They are very powerful. They're solid. They are based off of being a weapon. And any bronze dragons are based off of are known for being based off of warriors. So, bronze dragons, warrior based. Brown dragons, they're believed to have lived in the time of the dinosaurs. Their pigmentation has been identified as being a dinosaur, even though they weren't. It is a common dragon representation of fertility. They can also be represented as autumn-based or a reaping dragon. So, if I had to put that in my own words, I'm going to say they're definitely a phase type of dragon. So you're moving into the next stage of life, just like going from summer to fall. Things are dying off, so you're going into your next phase of life. So I would definitely say that would be, which would work because fertility means you're walking into another phase of your life. Gray dragons, great of wisdom. They are the oldest dragons, based off of gray representing age itself. They also symbolize travelers, helpers. They are very polite dragons, but they are very dominant on being blunt. Green dragons, earth-based dragons, of course. Vegetation, they like to run with any type of reptiles. They have been known to be hiding in the waters of where crocodiles lay. Komodo dragons are associated with them as well, so they're alligators. Let me see the symbolism here. They symbolize life, death, and rebirth. So green dragons represent Trinity. Just plain and simple. The green dragon of the east, one of the animals of the four directions in China, symbolize the east and spring. The element is based on wood, though, not just earth. The element of wood and the green dragon together represents regenerating rains. Also represents the yang, if you look at yin and yang. So it's the positive. Gold dragons are powerful sun deities. They also represent harvest. Very closely related to the bronze dragons. They also symbolize prosperity and wealth. Purple dragons, 100% wealth and royalty. Not in a good way. They also represent mourning and grief. See what I mean? I'm just skimming through them. I don't want to have to read everything. Rainbow dragons. So they are very uncommon, but they are there. They are also known as the rainbow serpent or the rainbow snake. The rainbow serpent, oh boy, I forgot all about these ones. The rainbow serpent devours people and vomits them back up, symbolizing death and rebirth only. For example, the Aztecs said that the dragon god, Quetzalcoatl, I can't pronounce Aztec, could be seen flying across the sky in the form of a rainbow. Rainbow dragons are inherently connected to the weather, specifically rain, manifestation of the rainbows after a rainstorm. But they are more uncommon and rare. Red dragons. Of course, this is mine. Short-fused, very passionate, very agitated, temper like there's no tomorrow, associates with the fire. They prefer any type of contemporary art, They prefer any type of metallic anything. So if you have a metallic, you know, gold candle, that's great to add to it. Trying to think what else. They like to hide in the volcanic areas. They like magma. They love lava rock. They don't like socializing. They feel that everything around them is able to be destroyed. It's a very destructive type of dragon, the red dragon. However, I did say it was creative, right? So they prefer dancing. They prefer creative arts. They do not prefer singing. I try and sing and I suck at singing too. So no surprise that I associate with them. Let's see, did I miss anything on them? Oh, they're protectors. They're really good guardians. But they're assholes. I'm not lying. Mine's an asshole. He tells me things I don't want to know. Or need to know, but don't want to know. So, you know, calls me out all the time. But red dragons are, you want them on your side. I consider mine a warrior dragon as well, even though technically warrior dragons are related to a different color. I do associate mine with a warrior because I'm warrior through and through by nature for everything anyways. Silver dragons are great healers. They have a strong, oh, now I'm getting comments? How did that work? All right, hold on, let me go back to comments because I know y'all are commenting. So Ronnie says, I only have one deck, don't know where it came from, but maybe I need to take a look at it. Ooh, let me know which deck you have. Ronnie says, I asked Leviathan to help when trapped on the ocean in a boat. And did he answer? I have to know. You can't leave me open and not give me the answer to that. Because Leviathan is a very... I'm not going to say homebody, but he doesn't really like people. He really doesn't. It took me a long time to work with him. He didn't want to. He doesn't want to. I wasn't at that level to be able to work with him the way I wanted to work with him. So I really need to know if he answered your call, because it might just have been a me thing, and it might be because I work with Tiamat first. She's the primordial goddess. I mean, it was a given. But working with him has been amazing, but it scares the crap out of me sometimes. Ronnie says, how many dragons can you have? As many as they allow you to have. One day you could work with an earth dragon, another day you could work with a lightning dragon. You only have one guardian dragon though, and they don't go anywhere. But you can always alternate and get help, wisdom, work with any of the other dragons if they want to work with you. So yeah, as many. Do some not get along with each other? Oh my gosh, that is the best thing. Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Not all dragons actually like each other, okay? It's like a competition. Fire and water don't mix. That's true. Earth and air really don't like each other, okay? Earth is always trying to destroy the earth. Air is always trying to destroy the earth in some form, okay? Those are elemental based. You get into, like, except for the Norse, because the three serpents all fought in Ragnarok, but a lot of cultures, you don't want to combine them, because they all are very strong minded in what they believe to be correct. Okay, now aside from the dragon god and the red dragon goddess, okay, which are the elites, they are the, male and female, deities of most cultures, practices, okay? Aside from them, all the others are catty. Like, they're like siblings through and through, and they fight with each other. No, she doesn't need to be doing it that way. No, what is he thinking? That's not how you do that. No, you need to do it this way. Why aren't you listening to me? I'm giving you my advice. Why aren't you taking it? They literally are fighting for your attention, okay? Now, that's also an energy thing, too. Because if you are having dragons fighting with you, are fighting, I'm sorry, for you, it's because you have an imbalance in your own energy. So you're pulling multiple dragons at the same time when your focus should be one element, or it should be one like goal that you're trying to like you need. Okay, so let's give an example. So if I need to work on a hex and I want a dragon to assist me with this hex, I'm not going to call forth an air dragon. I'm not going to call forth a water dragon. I'm going to call forth the darker, the shadows. I'm going to call forth the grays. Okay? I'm digging deep on that. If I try to work with, you know, an air dragon, it's going to turn into, let it go. Just why do you need to do that? You don't need to hex someone. Don't hex someone. It's all bad. Where, you know, the darker dragons are like, fuck it. Let's bring some karma. Let's do this. They really don't like each other, but they do have their own values. But I'm telling you, it's all based on your imbalance, on your energy. You're pulling too much. Your mind's not focusing. It's not concentrating. You're pulling too much. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. I'm rambling. I know. I tell you, I got so much to tell you, and I just don't have enough time to tell you. Do you need to separate them like deities, or can you put them all on one altar? You mean the different dragon types? If you mean the different dragon types, you can put as many different dragons as you want on one altar. Dragons can blend in with certain deities that are not dragon deities. So, example, Lilith. You can add dragons to her altar, 100%. Morgan, if they are Western-based dragons, you can add them to her altar, okay? So, there's a few deities that you can do that to. Loki, if you have a Loki, if you work with him and you have an altar for him, yeah, because his one son is legitly a dragon, okay? What other ones? I know there's a few others too that you could add dragons to, but yeah, if there's dragons within those deities, you sure can add them to their altar. And if you're talking about all the dragons, like the different style dragons on one, yeah, you can put them all together, because when you work with it, try and focus on just the one though, okay? Excuse me. I have so many different renditions of deities. I have Leviathan, I have Tiamat, I have Fafnir, I have hold on, I'm having another brain thing. Nihog, I'm sorry, Nihog. I can never say the G's right in Norse, but that's the second serpent that wraps around the tree of life in Norse mythology. And of course, you know, Loki's son. You can't work with Loki and not honor his son. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. Did I answer? I hope I answered your question. Well, I mean, that's facts, girl. Ronnie says, I'm here. It was during a hurricane. So yeah, he definitely answered your call. Okay, girl, look at you, got that connection. Like I said, I couldn't get that with him. He didn't want to work with me right away, but that's understandable. Dragon Junior High. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like I said, they're like us in this world. How, you know, sometimes it's drama felt and cocky. But I will say this, though, when you are dealing with the dragon god and the red dragon goddess, there is no bullshit. They're very old school. Don't even sit there and try and talk to them like they're your best friend, because they'll look down on you, because they are like the dragon royalty. You know, they demand attention, they demand respect, and if you do not give them that respect, those two titles, the male and female, or the feminine, the masculine, however you want to look at it, they will make sure you never work with any of their kind again. Another little side thing when it comes to the two main god and goddesses of the dragons, okay? Let me repeat this. They will not let you work with them ever again. All of them. They run all of them. All the dragons. Yes, dragon drama. Perfect. Awesome, sorry. I'm glad that's what he meant. I figured that's what it was. Yeah, you can have all of them on one altar. That's perfect. We were talking about colors, weren't we? Yes, we were. Okay, so we did silver. White is symbolic of two groups. So solar white and lunar white. So it is moon-based. Deals a lot with creation, supernatural power associated with the moon god or the mother goddess herself. In China, the white dragon is an omen of death. It is a warning. White dragons are also associated with the south direction, which is half true because technically fire dragons, which are red, associate with the south. So I guess that's how your own depiction of it is. Yellow dragons are the pale yellow. They symbolize envy and cowardness. It is the omen for illnesses and turning of the season. If it is a darker yellow, it is a solar deity where you have... Wait, where'd it go? Regenerative powers, and is a representation of an emperor. So fame, a lot of fortune, good fortune, things like that. Possibly even wealth too, without getting it too much into the gold itself. So yeah, wealth. Okay, so we talked about the fact that, you know, there's different types of them, like Yamata no Orochi. It's a Japanese dragon. Then there's like a big database of elemental dragons. So you have your air, you have your earth, you have your fire, you have your water. Okay, you got your four mains, right? Then we're looking at ice. Then we're looking at sky dragons. Then we're looking at lightning dragons. Then we're looking at solar dragons. Then we're looking at moon dragons. Okay, do you see where I'm coming from? It is all bridged into the elemental, but they're breakdowns of. Now, every elemental type of dragon has its own king and queen that fall under the dragon god and the red dragon goddess. Okay, so from those two, you then break them down into the kings and queens of all of the elements. Okay, I will say this too, because I don't think I did say this: the dragon god and the red dragon goddess do not associate with like Tiamat, Leviathan, any culture dragons that have an actual title and a name and they have their own myth. They don't fall with working with the dragon god, dragon goddess. It's just the elemental style dragons. You have shadow dragons, you have water dragons. What else? I'm trying to think. There's a few more. You actually have earth dragons, but then you have forest dragons. You have... Nope, that's it. That's all I could think of. Yes. They're gonna be so mad if I'm forgetting one of them. So yeah. So, and they all obviously do what their element, you know, does. So keep that in mind too. I will say this: if you want to start working with dragons, elemental dragons are the way to go. It's where you should start. Don't try and take on the big kahunas until you learn their myths. Especially if you know, dealing with like Hebrew stuff. So Leviathan would be good if you're looking to work with Mesopotamian. Of course, Tiamat would be good if you want to work with any type of Norse serpents. You know, there's three main ones. Two of them actually circle around the tree of life, eating their own tail, trying to crush Midgard. Then you have, you know, a transformation one that goes from being a dwarf to a serpent, also dying in Ragnarok. The only serpent, by the way, out of those three that when they fought in Ragnarok that actually survived was the Nidhogg. He ate corpses to stay alive. So he traveled to Nephilim, which is hell area, and ate the corpses to stay alive. He survived. He was the only one that survived out of the 3 serpents. So unfortunately, Loki's son did, get slaughtered. Let me pull up these comments. Sarah Lee says, gotta watch out for Fae drama too. I'm telling you, I think it's every mythological creatures. I wonder if sirens are like that too. I'm always curious. I love sirens. I think they're absolutely beautiful and crazy and disturbing and creepy with those teeth of theirs. But they're so mesmerizing. But I think that's because they do that shit on purpose. Sereni says, how can one honor the god and goddess of dragons? The same way you honor any of them. Honestly, if you attempt to communicate with them, and I know this sounds so weird, but introduce yourself in the most royal-like way you can. So think of yourself as putting you on a pedestal and, ask them questions, but tell them why you want to work with them. Just make sure, if for whatever reason, it doesn't kick back on you. I will say the biggest thing to say is, to learn wisdom. They love that because they are all knowledge-based and they want you to understand them and work with them. They want to pass on their information, but they're not just going to do it to do it. But anyway, offer them, get 2 statues, a male and a female representation. Light them together if you want to represent, them together as the masculine and feminine. Personally, this is me personally, with working with a lot of different style dragons, honestly, I would use fire quartz as a crystal for the goddess. I would use jet as the male, or jade for the male. One of those two, jet or jade, whichever you want, I think would be fantastic for the male. But I do think fire quartz goes perfect for her because she is just as powerful as her counterpart, the god of the dragons. So I would incorporate those 2 things. I would then separate, if you want to give them wine, I would give them 2 separate wines. Don't keep it the same. So maybe give a berry wine to one and more of a dry wine to another. You see what I mean? Do the balance thing. Do the, the light and the dark. Do the yin and the yang. You see? I would try to do the balance thing because that's what they represent. Balance within their own fraction. It's pretty much the same way when you want to, honor them in some form, okay? Keep them separated. Don't merge them together because they're not the same. They're 2 sides of the yin and the yang. Sarah Lee says, I've read a little about moon dragons. Listen, where? Because aside from the little bit of books I have, I can't find much on moon dragons. I don't work with moon or solar dragons, but I know they're there. I mean, every element of it does. So let me know, because I can't find nothing. And anything I see online is fiction. It's wrong in all forms. You could just, when you read it, you're like rolling your eyes like, come on. Why are you depicting this as such a child thing? Yes, always start small. Start with the basics. Elements are always the basics of every fundamental anything. It's the same thing in this world too when it comes to the dragons. Start there, work your way up. Now, you, Sarah Lee, let's say, Miss works well with the North culture, just saying you might want to look into those 3. I'm going to probably hone a little bit more. You might want to look more with Fafnir. I don't know why that one keeps pulling for me, for you. but that dwarf to transform into a dragon, I feel like that one's a strong one for you. Yes, Ronnie, please do. Like I said, not everyone's going to have that connection with them, and that's totally understandable. Like I said, if you work with the Fae really good, I'm telling you, the dragons probably don't want to work with you as much, because they're going to make you pick sides. So, possibly isn't just a snake. Could he also be considered a dragon? Oh, Loki's son is definitely a dragon. He is the serpent dragon. He has no wings. He has scales and he coils. Yeah, he's definitely a dragon. Actually, in a couple of my Norse mythology books, it actually says dragon and not just like a snake. Because a lot of people merge the serpent and the dragons together. So that's why people are like, oh, it's just a snake. Actually, he's a dragon, girl. Dragon. Loki's son? Yeah, definitely a dragon. At least that's how I've been depicting him all these years. That's a lot of the books that I have. They depict him as the dragon serpent. So yeah, definitely a dragon. And he's a mean son of a bitch. I love it. But also because he's Loki's. Sorry, says, sorry if I'm asking a lot of questions, but I could put them on the same altar as well, or do I separate them? Nope, because they are balanced. Please put them on the same altar. I would actually recommend that you do. I think it'd be all chaotic for them if you did separate them. So definitely put them together. And if anything, if you want to depict the other elements, like you say you buy crystals represent every element, and that stone represents that dragon element, I would definitely put them in the middle and then have the rest go around them as a representation, if that works. Oh, I know you don't work with the Fae, Ronnie. I know that, girl. I can feel a lot when it comes to you, and then what you were saying tonight definitely just, it tells me that you definitely work with dragons, so, or you should be working with dragons. Oh, I pulled those cards out too, don't me forget. Most of my books state snake, but I've always thought no. Yeah. There was one, I gotta figure out which book it was. I have so many when it comes to Norse. Especially I was given a lot too, but there's this one that it literally it breaks all of his children up. And in that one, it literally said, it says the whole time, the dragon serpent, the serpent of the dragon. That's how I started making that link, going, well, I mean, that would make sense because, Fafnir looked exactly the same, like in their depictions of, it's just like a water serpent. And then, which I always say this one wrong, Nidhogg, Nidhogg, I always say that wrong, but that one also, representation same, no wings, serpent-like, coils around the tree of life, the realm, cast down by Odin into the ocean until Ragnarok, where he then submerged, fought the battle with Loki and all the other gods that fought against Odin and Thor. So yeah, I definitely, like I said, I've never thought of him as a snake, always a dragon. But then again, dragons and serpents are, they're like this when it comes to mythology. That's why, like, the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland looks like a snake. He's an actual dragon. Brittany says, it is interesting that the Fae and dragons are like the Hatfield McCoys because there are so many statues of them putting together. And I don't know why they do that. I can sit there and tell you a million times, they do not want me working with the Fae at all. I don't know why they sit there and act like they're friends, because they are not. You look at the personalities between the two and it irritates me to this day, because you have this, like I said earlier, this very old school, ancient, you know, it's, you know, the old way. It's the respect values. There's no tricking. I'm blunt. I'm going to talk to you, you know, not like you're beneath me, but that I am royalty, and because I have the knowledge and the power and the wisdom that I'm willing to share with you. But you must prove to me that you will use this information to the best of your abilities. You will not use it for the wrong things. You will tell me when you're going to use something, my energy. And this is me speaking like the dragon. When, you know, use my energy for darker purposes. I will guarantee you that permission. However, I need to be informed so I know where my energy is being. Where the Fae, opposite of all that. Like, complete opposite. So yeah, any statues that have the Fae, any books that sit there and even say anything about, you know, the Fae and the dragons working together, I won't read them. Because to me, they are false. I've been working with the dragons for a very long time, and I've never, ever heard them say anything nice about the Fae. But that could just be the ones I work with. Again, my personal experience, guys. Uninformed picture books, etc. Yeah, very children-like. Like, stupid children-like. So let me grab... Where'd you go? Alright, so here's just a few of dragon ones. So if you want like a dragon deck that's very chill, I recommend this one. Garden Dragons. It's very cute. I really like the pictures on them. They're adorable. These are definitely all earthy dragons, but you know, they're fun. So very simple, like I said, it's, you know, if you want to work more just elemental based, I recommend those ones. They're cute. This is, yeah, I was right. This is the one I was telling you about, the one that's a great one to work with, to learn from. This is The Dragon Path by Carolyn Michael. These are great cards to have. And let me show you how these are. So here's the backs of them. Now, here's... I'm sorry that the ring is in the way, guys. I would turn this thing off, but then it's going to be so dark in my room. Let me find you the actual... This is a really good one, too. I love this card. It's the balance card. Again, I'm sorry about the ring, guys. I love Oberon. He's a fantastic one. He's all about coming out of your shell, becoming that warrior, becoming that confidant, but knowing your limitations, knowing when you're self-destructing. And here's my all-time one, Father Time. This is the one I wanted to show you. Father Time. He's absolutely amazing. Like I said, it's all about backing up a little bit. But all these cards are absolutely beautiful. I was trying to see if there was another one. They even have Merlin the Dragon as a card, if you know what I mean. Look at that one. Isn't that pretty cool? And then for Moon Dragons, Luna. So yeah, so these are great ones to work with dragons, period. Whether, you know, it's light, dark, happy, sad, it doesn't matter. These are fantastic. The Dragon Path Oracle cards by Carolyn Michael. okay? Like, I can't get enough of these cards. They're amazing. They're powerful. Like, the energy is just outstanding. Now, I'm in love with these Star Dragon cards. These were gifted to me, and I absolutely love these. They're deep, like this card, dominance, believing in yourself. Like, just how they, you know, independence, finding your own path. Now, what I like to do with these cards, honestly, is I like to use these when I need to find out what they recommend I work on, period. Whether it's for myself, whether it's working with other people. I use these a lot. Now, if I need to speak, or I'm sorry, if I need to figure out who I need to speak to, I will use the Dragon Path to help communicate. When I need to know what's wrong with me and how to fix myself and speak through the dragons, I will then use the Star Dragon Oracle ones. Does that make sense a little bit? Okay, so I use different cards for different reasons when it comes to the dragons. Sometimes you could even sit there and ask, you know, what type of dragon, what form of dragon are you? And let the cards tell you, you know, are they a transformation dragon? Are they a moon dragon? Or is it, you know, a time portal dragon? Is it a dark dragon? Things like that. Use the cards to your advantage on things like that. And I have other dragon cards. Those are the 3 that I work the most with. I'm just catching up on comments. Sorry if that sounded judgy. No, I wasn't judging. There are so many dragon books that, hey Austin, you wanna do me a favor? On your desk, honey, can you go get me your dragon book? It's in the little shelf thing on your desk. Bring it here for me. Yeah. I'll show you why I say this. I have Diana Cooper's dragon. I just want to show them. I have that deck too. I don't connect with it like I used to. I used to connect really well with it. I can't, but I think that's because I transitioned into a little bit more of the darker side of things, where hers are very light, like, but I do have hers too. So this is my son's book that he got from school. It's a dragon book. This is his favorite book. It's Dragons, Creatures of Myth and Legend. Okay, it's a scholastics book. Now this is why you get so many different views of things. So let me... So, there's this one called a Scottish Ghost Dragon. I've never heard of such a thing, which is weird, but check this out. And then, like, the weird thing is it has actual, like, facts to it, though, too. So, dragon fact. While every other breed of omnious dragons are known to consume their prey raw, the ghost dragon has been observed roasting small animals with its fiery breath before consuming the actual meal. Yeah. Like, they got ones that are Japanese water dragon. No, that's real. That's part. But then they got a three-eyed lava dragon. They say, dragon fact is, though the three-eyed lava dragon extra eye is helpful for hunting, it is completely deaf and has very dull sense of smell. Isn't it weird? It's such a weird book. But my son absolutely loves it, and I will support him 100% on his books because he loves this thing. We read it together.
And I have a necklace as well.
And it came with a necklace as well. So like I said, you know, some books. So again, it all depends on the culture you're trying to learn from, your practice itself, what you want to believe. And you can blend. Like I take Norse, okay? I don't use any Celtic dragons, but I take Norse dragons, and then I take Babylonian, and Hebrew. And those are the dragons I work with as far as the main, more popular, famous dragons. But I work with all the freaking element dragons. Like, they don't go away. Like, they're everywhere. I mean, like, I have this little guy here. He's a book dragon, you know, and he hides with my books. Ain't he cute? Look at those eyes. Tell me those don't just make you melt. But yeah, I mean, pay homage for, you know, something like that. I have dragon stuff everywhere. Like, my whole house is caked in it. Like, you will never see me not have dragon stuff in this house. Hell, my blanket is a massive dragon. And the heavy one, too. Okay, so. Ronnie said, oh, about the deck. I never did connect, don't know where it came from. I think it was its initial, like, hey, look at me, work with me. Same, Michelle, same. Okay, so I told you a bunch of random stuff. I'm sorry, I was probably all over the place, but ask some questions. What do you want to know? What do you need to know? I'm gonna sneeze. Don't sneeze. Okay. Now, on like a lot of main dragon gods, goddesses, they have like their own books too. So an example of what I mean is, I'm not gonna be on too long, guys. My power mode just came on. Tiamat has her own book. It's the Grimoire of Tiamat. It looks like this. It's very dark, very left-handed path, just so you know. I have bookmarks, like very specific things that like I can turn back to. She has a lot of sigils. She has a dream work called the City of the Dead. She has a meditation called the Serpent's Cave. I mean, like I said, she's definitely a draconic type of goddess. Black lakes, things like that. Let's see if I can find something. So like this is a dream work. It's for an underwater temple. But here, I'm just gonna read this because why not? So before going to sleep, focus for a while on the sigil of Usuruga, the chant in the name of the spirit of low vibrational voice. When you sense the presence of a demon, trace the key of night in front of you and speak the words of this dream invocation. In the name of Tiamat, I stir the black waters of the abyss, and I lift the veil of the night, to gaze into the mysteries which lie beyond the world of waking, in the name of the Mother. I call my guide and companion through dreams and nightmares. By the key of the night, I open the gateway of the dreamlands, and I seek to rest in the arms of the dragon, in a dream which will take me to subterranean temples, where I shall join forbidden rites and fearsome ceremonies. So it shall be. Then place the sigil below the pillow and lie down for bed. Envision a door with the symbol of the spirit which grows and shines a golden fire. The door opens and you are invited to walk through. Focus for a while on visualization given below and let yourself fall asleep. Keep your mind focused on the intent and continue to vision in the dream. So yeah, right? It's pretty cool. Oh, my Tiamat book. That was actually, I'm not gonna lie, it was my first book to break into draconic magic. And I got it on Amazon, like forever ago. But yeah, it was my first step into, let me figure out how draconic magic works. And then I learned that, you know, not only does Leviathan work in draconic, but Tiamat works in draconic because they are darker sea serpents. The abyss dragons. See, Serenity says, if you can after the live, I would love to know more. If you hit me up, I might not be able to respond tonight because I gotta get these kids to sleep because it's already 9:30 here. But ask some questions and I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'm off tomorrow. Just so you know. So I'd be happy to. You guys are making me so excited right now. Michelle says, that caused me, wow. And I don't work much dream work and stuff, but her stuff's, it's crazy powerful. Sarah Lee says, I know I need to really dig into Loki and his children, especially, I'm not even going to try and say this name because I can't pronounce it. Listen, you want to know what I call him? And please don't laugh at me. Please. Okay? Don't. I call him Jordamain every time. Now I just call him Jojo. He still answers regardless. He knows who I'm talking to, but because I cannot yet pronounce his name, and I've been working with him for at least about a year, him personally, I still can't pronounce his fucking name. I've used YouTube. I've tried to listen to it over and over again, and it turns into Joe. Or Jehoramine. Jojo. It's Jojo. Like, I have nothing else. Along the other Norse dragons, between my dreams and hearing a calling, I need to hop to it. Oh, you know I will always support Norse. Always. It's my go-to. I become more and more strong with my Norse than I have my Celtic, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, there you go. You call him Jorman. I like that. I probably won't remember that other. Jojo. He's Jojo. He's Jojo. It's just way too much. It really is. Okay, so anything else? Any other questions? Please ask. I'll give it just a little bit more. I have some meditations. I'm going to post their YouTube meditations. Oh, before I jump off, oh my gosh, how can I forget about this? So listen. So have you guys ever heard of the light language? It's a form of words that come from like the higher power, or some say the Akasha records, where it's a healing type of language. They actually have a dragon language, and I'm going to post one on the page either tonight or tomorrow. But look into it. I'm trying to learn it. It's not easy, but it's really amazing. Like it's good. It's something I think everyone should at least listen to. So yeah, I'm gonna post the dragon language meditation. I'm gonna post some actual dragon meditation. I'm gonna post one for connecting with your dragon guardian, aka also known as Montes. So until you learn your dragon's name, it is proper to call him Monte. It is a general term for dragon guardian. When the dragon wants you to know his name, he will tell you somehow. Dreams, a random name pops in your head. But yes, so like the Earth Dragon King's name is Grail. Say I was working with my Monte, and then I come to realize that Grail, the Dragon King, for the Earth element, is, you know, calling me. So he will tell me his name somehow. Okay? So things like that. That was another thing I forgot to tell you guys. See, I knew I was going to be randomly splatting stuff to you. Don't make me laugh. That's what I do when I can't say a name. You made my day. Listen, I break it down. I will never be that witch that sister and says, oh, I can pronounce all these names. Because I can't. So if I can't pronounce that culture's name properly, I'm going to give it a nickname. And I hope that they answer. And I'll get those for you, definitely. Because I was going to do the meditation myself because I like to do them, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it because of my kids. Because you need to be in that zone, and it's hard right now. But this guy, he is amazing. Just like the other meditations I always post, I always make sure I've done them personally, and I've seen them work, okay? I've worked with it. It's worked on me. I've been able to make those connections. So yeah, definitely I'm going to bring those to you, and especially the dragon language one. Like I said, it's definitely a healing type of language. I think anyone that wants to work with dragons should listen to it. Sarah Lee says, I have an aunt that practices light language. I just found this out. I'm hoping to learn more from her while I'm in AZ, Arizona. I've watched YouTube videos on light language, and it's really cool. Like, maybe one day I can learn that. I'm gonna work on the dragon language first, but what? Hey, negative. Knock it off. Nah. No. So move or scooch up. No. Stop. He's not even laying that far. You're the one who's trying to stretch over the whole couch. See what I mean? There's no way I could do meditation. Listen, I'm going to bring up random things. Just wait until we get to dragon magic and draconic magic. More stuff's just going to be popping in my head like, hey, I forgot to tell you guys this last time. I forgot to tell you that, guys, last time too. So, yeah. Eee! Oh, I have dragon knives too. I love dragon knives. But, let's see. Is there anything else I can throw at you that I'm forgetting? Oh, biggest thing too. So if you're trying to start to work with them and you're not sure if they're there, just speak like out loud and talk to what you would think. I'm sorry, let me rephrase this. If you want to try and talk to them like they are there, even though you're not sure if they're there. See if you get an answer, okay? I can't tell you how many times I'll be driving and then I'll say something like, are you going to watch me today at work? You're going to make sure I don't do something stupid again? Can you please make sure I'm safe? Because this is going to be a day. I can feel it's going to be a day. And I'll have a full-fledged conversation. Not really 100% sure if he's there. Majority of the time he is, but there are times he's not. Maybe he's doing something else for someone else because, I don't know. You know, he's kind of like my messenger too. Like, he comes and goes whenever he feels like it. But talk to them as if they're there. Ask them questions. Try and see if you can get an answer. If you have a very specific element that you want to try and work with, call to that element and see which of the dragons responds, okay? Don't try and get a name right away. They will tell you when they want to tell you, okay? Just call them Monte. M-O-N-T-E-Y. Monte, okay? It's the easiest thing to do. You will not disrespect them because it is a general term for dragon guardian, okay? Just like we talk to the earth or the wind or the fae or anything. Exactly. I mean, I can literally sit there and envision him next to me or around me, or if I'm laying in bed and he's just kind of crawling up, I can envision him being there because I've seen him in my head so many times that I know every scale and how his eyes reflect that amber, and you know, I can literally see every point and every freaking teeth and the scars that he has, and you know, the missing claw that he has. I can see everything, so it's easier for me to, you know, try and attempt to talk to him, even if he's technically not there, because in my head I can see it. So I can make it that way. It's kind of like really using your imagination in a way once you realize. Lucas, go. Mister.
No.
No. Yeah, well, no. I already know what you're trying to do. Quit messing with your brother. Okay, so if no one has any other questions, I'm going to get off for the night. I hope I gave you some good information and not too much all over the place. Like I said, we could have talked about, you know, Chinese dragons. We could have talked about worm dragons. We could have talked about Aztec dragons. But I just told you the stuff that I know from my practice, what I've worked with, what I've researched over time. Like I said, I work a lot more with the Norse dragons, Hebrew and Babylonian. Those are my specialty, but there are so many more. So if you feel more connected to the Aztecs or anything, do it. I mean, definitely work with it. All things. You want to borrow them? They wreak havoc every minute of the day. Perfect. And then Serenity, like I said, if you want to message me, I might not be able to get back to you tonight, but I can definitely get back to you tomorrow, or however you want to have a conversation. I'd be love to. But definitely, book recommendations, I'll put those on the thing too. But remember, DJ Conway, best dragon beginner books that he has. I think he has 3 of them. 3 of them. I only have 2 of them. I think he has a 3rd one too. One with clans. I don't have that one. There's one about the dragon clans. I don't have that from him. But I never had a need to because I jumped deeper with the, you know, Tiamat and stuff. So yeah, DJ Conway, get the cards, utilize the cards. They're fantastic to help you connect with. Just ask my girl Monica. She is loving her cards that I got her. There's also another, you know what, I'm going to say that for Draconic. I'm jumping way ahead again. I know I am. But statues, gold, any crystals that represent whatever the dragon you have, dragon's blood, resin, perfect. Teas for them. If you're working with the god and the goddess, keep them separate. Keep them as a yin and yang. Don't make them the same. Give them their differences because they are 2 separates. Paint. Make pretty paintings. See, I painted it. See, it's on me. But yeah, paint some stuff. You know, research. Get little statues or big statues. I'm trying to think, what else do I have? I mean, I collect everything. Like, I got... This was gifted to me, which I absolutely adore, too. But it's a little dragon pen. Look at that. And then we have so many dragon things that my son's going to bring you. Grail. Come on, bring Jade. So this is his dragon, guardian, Jade. Good. Closer. Turn her to the side. And she is a what dragon?
A girl.
She's a girl. What kind of dragon?
She is an earth dragon.
She is an earth dragon. She lives in the forest. Anything else you want to say about her? What does she do for you?
She protects me.
From what?
From danger.
Exactly. Thank you. Pick that up for me. And then my son has his own. My other son has one. His is a volcanic dragon, and his name is Brimstone. So, same thing. He protects him from the bad nightmares, protects him when he's in the house, all that fun stuff. Protects him when he sleeps. So, yeah. So, you know, if you have kids and, you know, they want to interact with the dragons too, I guarantee you that's because of the innocence of the child. The children will be able to see them better than an adult will. And it's that innocence that they have because they haven't been thrown into the chaos of the world yet. So dragons, they love children. Just gonna say that right now. And if anything, they're gonna take more of a protective nature with the children than with you. So don't be surprised if some dragon literally tells you to and decides to be only around your children or your son or your daughter. It's happened. I'm not gonna lie. That's why they have their own statues. Because I realized, hey, that time that I invoked the towers in my son's room because of an entity that was in there, that just made that like it made that connection to them, so there was no going back, and I don't want them to have to go back because it's perfect. But all right, so on that note, I'm gonna disappear. I'm gonna grab a drink. My throat's a little parched. I'm glad you guys had fun. I hope you had fun. Sorry. I hope you had a lot of fun. If you have any more questions, please drop them in the comments. Make your own thoughts when it comes to dragons. Don't just take anything I say, just like Brittany when she said about the myth with the whole males being humans first, right? And then no, females are human. I gotta go back and look, but I gotta look into that. So she has her own myth and stuff like that. So definitely look into, that. See what resonates with you. Get a little dragon figurine, keep it in your house, and see how it makes you feel.
Mom, I have something to tell them.
Go on, Luke.
If you have a dragon, if it protects you and you protect it.
Exactly. See? They learn young. All right, so I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to hop off here, get some sleep, and get these kids to bed. So blessed be. I hope you all have a great time. Have a blessed night, morning, or afternoon if you're watching this on the replay. And I can't wait to jump into Dragon Magic next. We might have to have some fun with that one a little bit more. Now that we talked about what dragons really are, then we can drop into the magic behind it and how to actually utilize them in workings. So, until next time, blessed be, my sisters.